Deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there. Oh, he got it! He got it! He got it! Touchdown! Jordan. Oh! A spectacular move by Michael Jordan!
Guys, all right, welcome to episode 76 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We're live every Tuesday and Friday night right here on Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch, and streaming, as always, in the Going For Two app for iOS and Android. All right, guys, we have a great show tonight. We're going to be talking some NFL Combine, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some free agency, which is coming up here pretty soon. And to talk about that, of course, we got my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss. Ryan, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. Just enjoying the craziness of free agency starting. Everybody cut today. And
yeah.
Some trades. A little bit of action for a change.
It's going to be some fun stuff. All right. And for the first time on the show, we have Mr. Damian Parson of the Damian and Jeremy Show. He's coming fresh off the Indy visit to the Combine. Damian, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be on the Armchair Show with you two fellas.
All right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Tell listeners where they can follow you on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Follow me on Twitter, DP_NFL. That's DP_NFL on Twitter. I tweet as much as possible, giving you guys whether it's draft content, pure NFL. I'll be trying to bring some NBA as we get closer to the playoffs as well. I am a WWE fan, so I'll be bringing some stuff for WrestleMania. We have a preview show coming for that, so definitely follow me there, DP_NFL.
Good stuff. And talk a bit about your show, too. What's the Damian Jeremy Show all about?
The Damian Jeremy Show, man, we predominantly we talk NFL. You know, we do a week-to-week show. We discuss we like to preview going into the week and then recap the following week after the games are played. But like I said, we also talk, not NFL, but NBA. Once the playoffs get here, WWE. Me and Jeremy are both huge WWE fans. And for those who love our draft content and love the draft anyway, follow us, on iOS and Android. The On the Clock with Damian and Jeremy. That is our NFL draft podcast. Just did an interview with Joshua Miles from Morgan State, tackle prospect. Saw him at the Combine as well. He had a good weekend himself, and that was a pretty good interview with him. Very cool guy to interview. Very good, cool guy to talk to. So definitely check out our content, man. We try to bring it to you weekly as much as possible.
All right, man. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I checked your show out a couple times before getting you on here. I wanted to just kind of see what it's all about, man. It's a good show. I like it.
Appreciate that.
All right, so we're going to talk some little bit of news and notes here. Of course, the big thing going on right now, and this might break during the podcast, and if it does, we'll go to it. But the Antonio Brown situation right now is fluid. We're recording here on Friday night. It's 9:30 right now. Antonio Brown, as of right now, is still a Steeler, but that could change within the next hour or so. Damian, give me your thoughts about the situation going down, the whole Bill situation, and now it's potentially the Raiders. Is it the 49ers? What's going on?
Well, like I said, when we were talking off air, I woke up to this morning. I woke up to the news. I'm being, I like Ryan was talking about, I had many notifications of, man, did you see that he's supposed to be going to the Bills? And I'm like, wait a second, slow down. What's going on? You have to kind of read up. Then you see that it was quote unquote fake news. He kind of blocked the trade to Buffalo. He didn't want to go there, but we talked about it on our show. Jeremy even brought it up with the Raiders. They have 3 first-round picks. They have the most power in the first round of this year's NFL draft. If any team can spare a first-rounder, it's Oakland.
Yep.
Granted, Buffalo, the reports of Buffalo are willing to give up the 9th pick, wanting to swap picks with Pittsburgh. But if there's one team that can give up a pick and not have to worry about it, it is the Oakland Raiders. And, looking at Derek Carr, he needs a true number 1 receiver. The only issue is, could AB and Gruden, could they mesh? Is that a cohesive situation or is that a volatile one?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm looking at for there. I see you with your San Francisco gear. I personally want him to go to San Fran. That's just me. I'm a selfish fan. Jimmy G is a former Patriot, so I want to see him, go out there and do his best. Give him the best of weapons. You got George Kittle. I like some of the young pieces they have. Put Antonio Brown there. I think you have a match made in heaven on the field per se.
Yes, yeah.
But that's just kind of how I look at it.
All right, yeah. The on the field thing is definitely the key there because I'm a little worried about him if he does end up in San Francisco because we have a very, very, very young team. I mean, a lot of our guys are second, third year players. They're just kind of growing up. I mean, they're like 19, 20, 21 years old. And you have this guy who's a quote unquote veteran coming in there and messing that chemistry up. I'm a little nervous there. I don't know if Kyle Shanahan has a big enough personality and sort of gumption to handle that. And then I don't know about Jimmy G either. I mean, he has nothing really to stand on. He's got no rings. He's got, he hasn't been a starter in this league for very long. So even Antonio Brown can kind of feel sort of superior over him too. So I'm a little nervous about that, but he's the best receiver in the league. And when it comes down to it, if he can just do it on the field, I think we'll be fine. T.O. kind of did that once to us before, but on the field he was still T.O. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Ryan, you live in Pittsburgh, so you got a little bit more insight than we do here. What are you hearing out there in Pittsburgh?
Real quick, before I get that, you mentioned about that trade with the Raiders sending him a first. You know what's crazy about that? They sent a first for him. They sent Amari Cooper away for that first. So they're getting a receiver, 6 years older than him?
Yep.
Yeah.
For the same value they got rid of him, who is a diva. But, I think he's going to go to the Raiders and Niners, man. He posted that video tonight. Dude was talking about him in the black and gray already, so who knows. And then Jerry Rice tweeted about it, about him going there. So I have no idea, man. I mean, one thing you tell, he's a hard worker. Dude's a 6th round pick, and he's the top of his game. On the field, there's nobody better. I'm a Ravens fan. I've seen him just demoralize my team. Knocked us out of the playoffs 2 years ago with that goal line thing they showed on every ESPN commercial. He's unbelievable on the field. He needs a team that's going to keep him in check. I don't know if Gruden can do it, if Shanahan can, but either way, they got to keep him off those quarterbacks because neither's the most stable situations.
Yeah, I agree. There's the situation there where, quarterbacks are going to be the issue because, he was kind of hating on Big Ben, and Big Ben, is a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback. So he's been coming here with Jimmy G or Derek Carr, who haven't really proven much in this league, and I think it could be a potential volatile situation. Because I've said this before, even before all this situation happened, is that anywhere Brown goes, anywhere in the league, is a downgrade to where he is right now. Because the Steelers pass the ball more than anybody else. They passed the ball 40 more times than the Colts did this year. So anywhere he goes is really going to be a downgrade for him. So is he going to be happy if he's not putting up the 1,200 yards and 100-plus catches and the 15 touchdowns every year? Will he remain happy? That's the big question there.
That's a good point because when you look at what he has in Pittsburgh, Big Ben for so many years, and I told a lot of Steeler fans this. Through the regular season, you guys are dominant. You have Bell, you have AB, but Big Ben did not trust his other weapons. You go back to, I believe it was the 2017 AFC Championship game in New England. Big Ben didn't have that rapport with Sammy Coates and Kobe Hamilton. He had the rapport with Lev Bell and AB. And when they double teamed AB and said, you're not going to catch 10 to 12 passes for 120 yards, and Lev Bell went down with the groin, Big Ben could not distribute the football to his other weapons. Jimmy G he's kind of got that Tom Brady in him. I'm going to hit who's open.
Yep.
So if George Kittle's open, he's getting the football. If the young receiver, I forgot the kid's name.
Pettis.
Pettis. Yeah, I was about to call him Dennis Pitta. Pettis. If Pettis is open, he's going to get the ball. If the running backs are open. So that's a good point is how will AB handle other people getting the football and cutting into his share?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, he cracked when Juju started getting the ball. That's what kind of started this whole ordeal. He was mad about someone else getting some shine.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's go from Big Ben quarterback. Let's talk about another quarterback, young guy that's been sort of in the news a lot lately after the combine, Mr. Kyler Murray. He's rumored to go number 1 overall now. It's almost, from what you hear from some places, it's almost a foregone conclusion. They're going to trade Josh Rosen to somewhere. Ryan, I know you were kind of against this originally. You didn't think there's no way they're trading Rosen, but now it looks almost like it's inevitable. What do you think of the situation going out there in Arizona?
I think it's going to happen. My mock draft is coming out probably this weekend. Has it happening? That being said, I hate it from a football standpoint. Like, Kyler's good and all, but like, Josh Rosen's never had weapons around him. They've never gave this dude the chance. He didn't have it in college. He doesn't have it in Arizona. They just got a lineman for him today, but still not enough. And this dude's got no chance. He's probably the top quarterback in this draft. I still think he was the best quarterback last year. I think whoever gets him, and if they get him cheap, it's going to be a steal. But, dude, it's crazy. So they're literally going to give up 1 overall for a position they already have with a young quarterback.
Yep.
And move back in the draft for that. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
What do you think, Damian? What's your thoughts on this Arizona situation?
Yeah, when I was in Indy, I was hearing, a lot of chatter about it as well, sitting at dinner and just kind of around the facility, you hear, you see huddles of people, you're walking by, you're hearing some things, but for me, and we discussed this, like, could he really go number 1 overall? It's crazy. This whole thing started from a quote Cliff Kingsbury made while he was a college coach. Like, that's the amazing thing with how this whole thing started. But for me, is if that's the direction they want to go in, if that's his guy, I believe that they should give up on Josh Rosen? By no means. By no means do I believe they should give him that. He did not. The offensive line was bottom 5 in the NFL. They need more receivers than 36, 37-year-old Larry Fitzgerald. David Johnson couldn't even get going because of the offensive line. So and coaching. So one of the more premier backs in the league who has the all-around skill set, you couldn't even really get him back to his prime shape, and prime production. But I understand it. A lot of times, I'm a spades player. So one thing there's a saying I grew up hearing playing spades. You think long, you think wrong. So I look at it like this. If they make that quick decision that this is going to be our guy, go with it. But you have to build up the rest of that team. You have to make those moves in free agency, whether it's Ramon Foster or you have to get some veteran offensive linemen in there to improve that unit. And of course, find some. Now, again, this is a pretty deep receiving core in this draft. When it comes down to receiving class, you can get some more weapons in the second, third round. Yep. But man, if you put him out there with a similar team to what Josh Rosen has, I don't care what he runs in the 40. He's not going to give you the production. That ROI, that return on investment, won't be there year 1.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I think I'm with y'all both. I was kind of the mind when it first kind of came out that I was like, all right, Cardinals want to trade out of that first pick, so they're going to pretend they're going to take Kyler Murray to make another team come up to get that pick by making it seem like they want to get Kyler Murray, which is kind of what we did a couple of years ago when we got, we traded back 2 picks to the Bears so they can get Mr. Trubisky. We convinced them that we're going to take Mr. Trubisky, and then we didn't. Right. We got picks and everything else for it. But over the last 3 or 4 days, I'm like, man, this is legit. They're really going to take the number 1 overall pick as Kyler Murray, and they're going to trade Josh Rosen. It's crazy. And I live here in Washington D.C., so Washington was all about trying to get Josh Rosen. And of course, they go and they trade for Case Keenum. Yes. So all my Redskins friends are all pissed off. Like, man, we got Case Keenum. I'm like, y'all paid nothing for him. Y'all basically just switched picks. You're splitting his guaranteed money, so it's like $3.5 million. Worst case scenario, if you get another quarterback, he can be your backup. He would be a decent backup. But even if he goes in as your starter for this year, the team's not very good anyway. It's not like if they got Josh Rosen, they're going to be any better. So they might as well just bide their time one more season and then get some more draft picks in there. So I agree with both of y'all. I think this is going to be a big thing going into the draft. I don't think it happens until draft day, but I think this definitely does happen. I think he goes number 1 overall, and Rosen goes somewhere else. Sticking with the quarterback theme here, another thing that we kind of heard here, and we kind of all expected it pretty much once he got bought out of his contract. Nick Foles expected to go to Jacksonville. Seems to be the best landing spot for him, at least to compete right away. What do you think about the situation, Damian?
I mean, I think it's a good fit. You look at the run game, keep Leonard Fournette, he stays healthy. They have some solid receivers. I would like for them to upgrade the tight end position, though. Get another young body in there. But granted, it's tough because in the draft, you can sign him to a 2-year, maybe $40 million deal, 45, somewhere in there where he can be your bridge guy or he could be turned into your starter for the long term. But in the draft, having the 7th overall pick, do you go quarterback still just to hedge your bets?
Yep.
Or do you go and, build an offensive line, take a Jonah Williams or a Cody Ford to help build the front? But I think it's a good fit, a team that believes in him, a team that wants him. But I will say it seems like a desperation move as well from the front office and coaching staff. Like, listen, we have to find someone.
Yep.
Blake Bortles, my biggest thing with Tom Coughlin and those guys, you should have never signed, you should have never extended Blake Bortles. I don't know what you saw. Granted, he threw well and had some plays early in the season versus the Patriots, but the Patriots defense was one of the worst at the beginning of the season as well.
Yep.
So, I think it's a good fit. I think Foles should be fine. I think he, like I said, that run game, he is the guy that wants to chuck the ball deep. And with having a strong run game, that play action will be there, the RPO will be there. Long as the offensive coordinator can buy into what he does, kind of what Peterson did in Philly, I think he should be all right.
Yep. Ryan, what do you think about the situation?
Yeah, I mean, tea leaves are there. They cut Malik Jackson, Carlos Hyde, Deshaun Gibson, their right tackle. They freed up like 15 or 20 million today.
Feels like it's the NBA. They're making room for LeBron James or something.
Yeah, but they're doing this for Nick Foles.
Nick
It's crazy.
Foles.
7, that frees it up, man. With getting rid of Malik Jackson, they got a big hole there at defensive tackle too.
Yep.
I might get I don't think Quinn Williams could fall that far. Like him or either like maybe Ed Oliver down to that spot. But
yeah,
dude, Nick Foles ain't the answer.
Yep.
You're overpaying. I think you're just overpaying for a bridge guy, and that window is closing quickly for them.
And that's why I think they're panicking because there's not a whole lot. I mean, this is like the worst quarterback class. At least that's what we hear, in the draft. It's one of the worst free agent quarterback classes, in history as well. I mean, you got Teddy Bridgewater is probably your number 2 quarterback out there right now. So
I'd take Tyrod over any of them there.
Yeah, Tyrod's an interesting one because I mean he's been kind of replaced in everywhere he's been, but he does pretty well when he goes there. He's a good fantasy quarterback too, which we like that as well.
He's good at not messing up, which would be good with that defense and that run game. He'd go there, field general, do his thing, and they'd probably be better off.
Yep.
I definitely think Foles is going to be that bridge guy. I'm not, and my co-host is an Eagles fan, so but the thing about what I love about him is he's objective. He's like, listen, Carson Wentz is our future. I do not want to keep Nick Foles by any means. Let's ship him off and get something for him.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm with you. So I'm with you guys as well. I think he's just simply the bridge.
Yep.
But I definitely can see this causing someone to get fired if it's handled incorrectly.
Exactly.
I kind of see that the tea leaves right there, the writings on the wall. If they draft wrong and this turns out to be a disaster, somebody's getting the axe.
Yep. Agreed 100%. All right, we got 2 more news points, and then we'll get to the combine thing here. I'm just going to hit on these 2 really quickly. Jason Witten, of course, unretires, going back to the Cowboys. And then Todd Gurley is rumored to be considering stem cell treatment. As a fantasy player, any interest in Jason Witten and Todd Gurley? If you own him in Dynasty, are you worried, Ryan?
No interest in Jason Witten. It's publicity stunt. And I traded for Todd Gurley on, Tuesday this week. So I traded Nick Chubb, Will Fuller in third for him and felt comfortable about it.
So you're not,
I have no worry.
All right, so you're
It's
buying. You're not a seller. You're buying right now.
Yeah, it's the lowest you're ever going to get him.
All right, good stuff. Danny, how you feel about that?
When the reports came out with the arthritis thing and now the stem cell, it leaves a little, kind of a little bit of worry. He's one of my favorite running backs. He's been one of my favorite running backs even when he was at Georgia. But I think Todd Gurley will be fine. Give him the off season to rest up and rehab and get back to himself. Lessen his load. They've been kind of riding his back for the past 2 seasons. But I think he'll be all right. I'm still like Ryan. I'm buying on him.
He gets 80% of the production he has now. He's still top 5 running back.
Yep.
Yeah, easily.
That's cool. He gets 20 touches a game, 22 touches a game instead of 28.
Yeah.
Fine.
No
problem.
I'll take it.
And you know what? I think if you talk to any Gurley owner in fantasy, if he had gotten that 22, 23 touches throughout the season and then he was still available at the end of the year when you needed him the most, they would have taken that over the big seasons that he had, leading up to like week 13, week 14 when he wasn't doing nothing for you. So
Exactly.
I agree. Lighten the load a little bit. And the thing with arthritis, I listened to a podcast that brought a medical person on there, and they said that, ACL injuries in general are going to create some kind of arthritis in general. They said they used Nick Chubb as an example, who had ACL surgery in college, and they said he might have arthritis too. He's just too young to know it yet. But it's a common situation with ACLs. So you think of like Adrian Peterson, guys like that. They had good careers afterwards. They probably have some form of arthritis anyway. I think Gurley just had such a heavy workload that it kind of showed up at the end of the season. They should have just lightened his load earlier.
Yeah. It's probably mild enough where it's just pain management for him now, and
Yep.
they give him so much. They let him take so much, it don't matter.
Yep. All right, let's get into this combine review now. So before we actually get into the winners and losers and all this stuff, I want to hear about your experience, Damian. I know you were down there. This is your first combine, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So tell us about your experience, man. Tell us did you see anything that we didn't see on TV?
The only thing I can say I saw that you guys didn't see was just the players away from the cameras. A lot of guys, you see them and they're kind of programmed to talk, to speak differently and to put on a different persona. But a lot of the guys, I met a lot of players just kind of walking around, especially in the close proximity to the hotels where it was located. A lot of the guys are pretty down to earth. They, just kind of sit and talk, whether it's just talking football or just chopping it up for a little bit in general. A lot of guys were really down to earth. You got some guys who were really protected by their agents, whereas like right now he has somewhere to be, blah, blah, blah. He has to go here, he has to go there. But for the most part, that's really what it was. And then, of course, being inside, like I was telling you guys off the air, you had to be like just quiet as a mouse, man. You could not move. You couldn't be in there doing too much because they wanted guys to be focused. Being in there, especially on Friday, seeing the running backs and offensive linemen, that's not something that most fans are willing to watch, especially up close, especially the offensive linemen. Yep. We call them the big sexies on our show instead of the big uglies. So, most fans don't want to see that. But it was actually intriguing being able to see, and then of course, like I said, interviewing Joshua Miles from Morgan State, watching him and seeing him live and in person and seeing how he was able to perform at the combine, which he had a pretty good combine, if I say so myself. It just made the whole experience just ground shaking. It was fun. Like I said, it was really cold. So being inside the stadium was really good rather than being outside. So.
You're from down south. You're from down south, though, man.
Yeah.
You're not used to that cold.
Man. I'm from the beach, bro. I'm from Myrtle Beach, bro. I'm not trying to have that 20-degree weather. Nah, get out of here.
Dude, I like borderline shorts in 20-degree weather. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I actually saw somebody do that. They had like flip-flops and shorts, and I'm like, this guy's crazy. No, can't do it. Can't do it.
I'm borderline from the mountains, man. I went to college in the mountains, man. It's used to the cold.
All right, let's get into some of these winners and losers. We'll start with the quarterback position. And Ryan, we'll go to you first because I know you watched a little bit of the combine on TV, maybe all of it. I missed a good portion of it because unfortunately I work in retail, so my busy period is on the weekend, so I missed a lot of it. But top of these quarterbacks a little bit. Who are your winners and losers for quarterbacks?
I think quarterback-wise, it's kind of hard to say. Like, the testing really doesn't matter. Like, Kyler didn't test, and nobody expected him to. People made a big deal about Dwayne Haskins, and that was garbage because we didn't expect him to be fast. He's an accurate pocket passer. And I don't know that much to say. I mean, some guys probably got some roster spots. Like Tyree Jackson might have got some attention, but maybe for the wrong reasons for them talking about. But it's hard with the QBs, man.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get to see them throw, like, in person. Anybody really stick out to you?
Damien?
For when I was, watching those guys, I will say, I like seeing Drew Lock. Drew Lock, I like I say on the show, I am a Drew Locker. I am a, Drew Lock fan. Jeremy, not so much. Jeremy thinks he's like a second, third round talent. I think the kid has all the talent in the world. He just has to get the refining done. But watching him, the ball placement was well. He did good with ball placement. Footwork was solid as well. Another name, Jarrett Stidham from Auburn. A lot of people remember him from the year before where they beat Alabama and Georgia in the same year. Then got completely smacked by UCF in their bowl game. But a lot of people don't understand that Auburn was a terrible team this past season. That offensive line, no run game. Like, he only had one true receiver, and that was Ryan Davis, who was also at the combine. That was about it. You know, they didn't really have too many playmakers. So watching him, he had a calmness to him out there. He threw effortlessly. Everything was just, nice, cool, calm, and collected. And I like that with him as well. And like I said, Tyree Jackson, I think, we knew he was an athlete. We knew he had the big arm. And he showed some things. So he'll make somebody's roster.
All right.
Oh, yeah. With Locke, man, that was my biggest thing with him. You mentioned about the ball placement. The first time I watched him, I loved him.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great. And then I watched Emmanuel Hall's tape and just saw how many adjustments he had to make, crazy adjustments on the ball. Do you think that's something he was looking better at doing and fixing with his ball placement?
Yeah, I think because when you watch him, everything is tied to his feet. Granted, he has, and I remember saying this on social media, maybe months ago. He had a little Pat Mahomes in him where he could throw off the 1 foot sidearm across the field. He has that type of arm, but a lot of it is simply due to his mechanics. And with a good offense and with a good QB coach, I think those things can be fixed and worked on. And he can because that was something I worried about with Pat Mahomes as well. He just went to what I call a QB whisperer and Andy Reid. It's there's no QB he can't work with.
Yep.
Whether it's Kevin Cobb or Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, he doesn't really matter. He is going to be able to draw plays and put in a game plan that works for his quarterback. But that was something that Pat Mahomes had issues with as well. Is just kind of backyard football, sloppy feet, sloppy mechanics. But, see him into his second year this past year, throwing 50 touchdowns, going to the AFC Championship game. Those things are rectified in just a full season or so with a good coach. So I think Drew Lock can do the same thing. It's all to his mental though. If he's willing to put in the work, I think he could be a really good quarterback.
Good stuff. So I got a couple winners and losers that I kind of wrote down here. Disclaimer here, I'm not a huge college fan, so I'm going strictly on Combine and just watching, tape on YouTube. But in my years watching the Combine, I've never seen a situation where a quarterback or any player for that matter sort of became a winner just by getting measured. You know what I mean? Like Kyler Murray didn't do anything except go there and get measured, and all of a sudden everybody's hyping him up. He's 5'10", 207, and now all of a sudden he's the number one quarterback, and he didn't even throw a single pass in the game. So that that's a little bit kind of funny to me. And then Dwayne Haskins, who on the opposite side really didn't have a bad combine, but he ends up being a loser just because he's not Kyler Murray. You know what I mean? Like he lost ground just because Kyler Murray was getting all the hype. I think he had a decent combine, Dwayne Haskins did, but now he's sort of viewed that as the number 2 quarterback in this draft. And then one other guy that I had on my list here, and he's not really a well-known name, but I thought this was an interesting note that I read. I'm probably going to mess his name up, but Trace McSorley was actually requested by teams to try out as a defensive back. So I think that's got to be a bad sign. You're a quarterback and they're trying to turn you into a DB. Cannot be good.
Dude, I've watched a lot of Trace McSorley, not on purpose. Being in Pittsburgh, weirdly everyone's Penn State fans. So they always have their games on. All he did was just throw yellow balls up. It is bad. It's funny. He'd just be back when he had Gesicki and Godwin, he'd literally just go back and chuck it as far as he could and hope he made a play.
Man, his ball, a lot of people, his ball placement is so bad. A lot of people, it's so bad, man. At the combine, a lot of people wonder, with quarterbacks, they can't really do anything thrown against air. And I always tell people, you truly can see some things with quarterbacks because some of the routes, a lot of these guys in college don't run. They don't run the post corner and different things like that. They usually run the screens, goes, slants, drags, simple things. So watching him throw the ball behind the receiver on the out route consistently, missing him on the slant. And I'm like, dude, there's no rush. There's no defenders. It's just you and this receiver, and his ball placement was putrid. And I'm just like, okay. Like, me and Darren, because Darren is not a fan of Tracy McSorley either. And me and Darren looked at each other and was like, yep, this is exactly what I expected from him.
He's real bad.
What I expected from him.
All right, let's move on from the quarterbacks now. We'll talk about the tight ends just briefly here because, it's a deep class. But as far as the tight ends go, we kind of knew what we are going to know when we going in. Fant, Hockenson, Irv Smith Jr., those are all some top guys that we all kind of knew going in. Who were your winners and losers coming out of the combine, Damian?
Of course, Noah Fant, running. We knew he was athletic. We knew he was fast. I didn't know he was 4.5 fast. I didn't know he had that type of speed in him, but he tested well athletically. He caught the ball because that was a question that I had with him as well was, was he a natural catcher of the football or was he someone that kind of fought with the ball? And you see guys like that where you hear that, they talked about it on the show that's, smacking of the hand, but he caught the ball well. He ran solid routes and he tested well. So I was impressed by him and what he was able to do. I believe it was Josh Oliver. He tested well also. I have to go back and check his tape now, which is why the combine exists so we can go back and look at guys. And of course, TJ Hockenson, I know some people were worried about his 4.7 but I didn't think he was faster than Noah Fant, so I didn't expect him to run a 4.6 or 4.5, but he ran good routes and he snatched the ball out of the air. Exactly what you see on tape. So those were my three winners.
Yep, definitely. I definitely agree with those guys. I did have one that I wanted to bring up too, and I mentioned Irv Smith Jr. from Alabama. And I don't watch a lot of college football, but I watched Irv Smith Jr. in the Gauntlet. If you want to watch a perfect Gauntlet, watch Irv Smith Jr. It was ridiculous the way he was he just was so smooth. The ball was just right in his hands. He was catching the ball away from his body. It was a beautiful thing to watch. So Irv Smith Jr. is kind of one of those names to watch as you go into your fantasy drafts as well, because I'm sure Hockenson and Fant will get sort of the notoriety. Irv Smith Jr. will probably be a little bit later round, but I think he's got the upside as well to be a really good tight end in the league. Ryan, who do you have for your winners and losers?
Out of the guys you guys didn't bring up, I'd say probably my biggest winner was Foster Moreau. At LSU, they don't pass.
No.
And if they passes they're like 3 passes a game to the receivers. So tight ends get no burn whatsoever. Foster, he's had hype and he proved that he was athletic at the combine, proved he could catch. I think he's a guy who's going to be on some radar now and could be a deeper sleeper. And biggest loser, man, it had to be Isaac Nada. This dude was everybody's tight end 4 and he ran out and he's so slow.
He was, a
4.91's unacceptable.
Yeah, and I got written down in my notes. He's dead last in the 3-cone and dead last in the vertical. So, yeah.
And Caden Smith from Stanford, everybody was on him too before the draft.
Yeah,
and he was even slower. Yep. Terrible.
Yep, I had both those guys on my list. Now, the thing with Nada is there's potential there that he can be a blocker in the NFL. He might have a role, whereas Caden Smith is not known as a good blocker. So the fact that he has no he's not fast, he's not strong. He's gonna be a hard press to find a place on an NFL team. Did you have any other losers, Damian, besides those two guys?
No, you guys nailed it right on the head. It was those two. Because I was a huge. I didn't know everybody else was on Nada as well. I was watching tape because I was going through my tight ends, and I was like, man, this kid from Georgia. Like I like what I see from him. They moved him, they split him out wide, they put him in the slot. He was able to get separation, make catches, and then I'm like, okay, he's going to probably hit 4.7, 6, 4.7, somewhere to 4.7. His play speed was very much different than his combine speed. Yep. So that kind of made me worry a little bit, like what exactly happened on the 40-yard dash that we need to know about for you to run a 4.91. But those were my two guys. Caden Smith, I thought he would have ran a little bit faster as well and test a little bit better because he does well in the vertical game, especially up the seams, being able to make those contested catches. And athletically, I wasn't too impressed with him either. So those were my two losers as well.
Spoiler alert: the Georgia guys had a rough combine in general, minus one or two of them.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're doing with their training over there, man.
All right, let's go look yoga. let's go look at some of these running backs now. Of course, as fantasy owners, we look at the running backs and the receivers probably the most. So the running backs, Damian, who do you have for your winners and losers?
Man, the kid from Oklahoma State,
Justice Hill?
Justice Hill. The thing about it is I scouted this kid and I knew he was a burner. I knew he had speed. Watching him be able to make certain cuts and that one cut in reverse field, I did not know he was going to test so well athletically. 40-inch in the vertical, that 4.4. I was surprised by that, but he was one of my winners because, like I said, I knew he had the ability to catch the ball at the backfield and be a potential 3-down guy or at least the second back to a big back,
right?
And everything like that. But he kind of raised the question: could he be a number one back in the NFL? And he's going to have some evaluators kind of looking at him in that form. Another guy that won for me, Miles Sanders from Penn State. 4.49 in the 40, ran faster than I expected. He caught the ball well. In the bag drills, he showed that he was agile, good hips. He could open his hips with no problem. And I'm a fan of his. I was watching him all year at Penn State. So watching him at the combine and him testing so well and doing everything so well, I really think he solidified himself in that top 3 back RB, whether it's RB3 or RB2 for some guys in this class. I was extremely happy to see him test the way he did. And Raquel Armstead, from Temple, another one. I think he ran the 4.46. I knew he was a powerful, hard-nosed, running downhill style type of back, but that showed that he has the speed to go the distance, and he's a guy that can wear you down all 4 quarters. But now it's not just can he wear you. Not only will he wear you down, but he has the speed. Once he wears you down, he can take it the distance and score on the long run. But he caught the ball solid. And he showed good footwork in the bag drills as well. So those are my 3 winners right there, man.
Yeah, that's good. I love Miles Sanders right now. I actually moved him up to my RB2 in my dynasty rankings. And, I got a piece coming out tomorrow. I'm going for 2.com, a rookie profile of Miles Sanders. And, watching tape, and I told Ryan this the other night, he has one of the best jump cuts that I've seen in a long time. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty. There's a game against Michigan where he jump cut, split 2 defenders, and they ran into each other. I mean, it was that good of a jump cut. It was ridiculous. So, I love me some Miles Sanders. He was one of my winners as well. Ryan, who you got for your winners?
Real quick before we get to the winners, I just wanted to bring it up. Last week, we did best 40 predictions at running back and receiver.
Oh, right.
Can I say I was 2 for 2?
Yeah, you nailed it. You did.
I hit Hill and Isabella.
Yep.
But biggest winner for me is Darrell Henderson, man. His weigh-ins what got it for me. I loved his game. I thought he was going to come in light. Like, he was beating up on these small schools, and he looked like kind of skinny because he's fast. He came in 207 at 5'9", so he's compact, powerful. He killed it in almost every drill. He's an explosive athlete. I think he did great. I think he boosted himself up to a day 2 pick. And it's a guy who can make big plays. Justice Hill is another one who, like you mentioned. And then, I blanked on his name. The dude from, my brain just quit on me. I apologize for that.
You're good.
Alex Barnes from Kansas State, man.
Oh,
yes.
I haven't even got to watch him yet. And he just came out of nowhere and killed everything.
Yep. Yeah, he was awesome.
That's another guy who was a winner. And, I don't want to pick on the Georgia guys again, but dude, Holyfield, man.
Terrible.
He was my running back like 7 or 8 and just, you can't be that slow.
Yeah.
No. That time was
I
bad.
know you're a 2-down back and not much more, but you're going to get caught from behind by half the D linemen you tested this week.
Yeah, I had one more winner that we hadn't talked about already, and he's more of a 3rd down pass catching kind of running back, and that's James Williams from Washington State. I just think that he ran the 4th best cone, he ran the 4th best 20-yard shuttle, ran a 4.58 in the 40, and then some of the drills that they aren't timed. I kind of watched a little bit on my phone. I got the ability to watch NFL Network on my phone, so I'm at work watching it. And some of the drills that aren't timed, he just looked really smooth. I mean, some of the drills where, the bag, they move the bag and he has to cut one direction, and his cuts were smooth. he was, bursting out of that. He just looked really good on tape. And then I went back and watched him, some of his games. Now, people look at his 83 receptions as a big thing, but I did watch that. He caught a lot of screen passes and a lot of swing passes in that offense. So I don't know if he's going to translate to a good route runner right away. I think you have to develop that over time, but I think that he has the physical capabilities to do it, and I think he could be a good PPR type back in a dynasty or a fantasy football team. So he was my other winner. And as Ryan mentioned, obviously Elijah Holyfield, a 4.79. I mean, that's just slow. And the other one that I had as a loser as well was Devin Singletary. I just don't think
I wanted to bring him up. Thank you.
Yeah.
He had one of the worst the 20 shuttle, and he's supposed to be a guy that's like shifty and and the agility should have been there, and that's what he struggled at the most was the agility drills, which just kind of stood out to me on a guy that in one of my articles I kind of compared him to a poor man's Le'Veon Bell, and after seeing his agility drills, he might be just a poor man in general.
That 40 time did not help. 4.66 did not. When you're nicknamed Motor, you cannot run a 4.66.
Yeah. If he was like 220, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, he had a decent combine. No one's talked about because it was just solid, not great. It's Damian Harris, man.
Yeah.
That's like his whole career has just been that solid dude. Yep. And I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be good in the NFL. He does everything.
I think he's Mark Ingram 2.0. He reminds me a lot of Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I agree.
Can catch the ball, in a screen game. Has some decent speed. He's not going to kill you with it, but he's a guy that you got to kind of bring the lunch pail and hard hat when you come tackle him because he doesn't go down easy.
I'm a big fan. He's in my top 3 running backs. I'm a big fan of his still.
Yeah,
most definitely.
We got some breaking news here. Elijah Holyfield just finished his 40.
Man, you had me about to look at my phone. Like,
I went straight to my phone.
I was like, oh man, AV got traded already? Let's go. Like, what's going on?
All right, let's go look at these wide receivers. And obviously, I'm sure we all have DK Metcalf. Ryan, we'll go to you first with your winners so Damian doesn't take all your guys. Talk about some of these receivers and who was the winners and losers.
Yeah, Emmanuel Hall was my first one. I felt I was higher on him than most people coming in, and he did way better than I thought he was going to do. Like, dude set the broad jump record for a wide receiver. He blazed in the 40. I thought he was a good receiver because he was just smooth and adjusted to the ball well. I didn't realize he was just an absolute athlete out there. I think he's somebody who did good. And then Paris Campbell just lit it up, and he probably moved himself up a round or two.
Yep. Yeah, those are Ohio State guys. I think there was 3 receivers there from Ohio State, and they were all fast. Like, holy crap.
Dude, they could run at Ohio State.
Yep.
Like, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you named one of my guys, and that's Paris Campbell. Me and Jeremy had a 40-yard time bet for the receivers, and I picked 2 out of the 3 Ohio State guys. I picked Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin. And until they adjusted, which I still call BS on Andy Isabella's 4-3-1, I still call BS on it. But until they adjusted that, I actually won. But, Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin, both blazing fast. They ran good routes, and they caught the ball well with strong hands. But a guy that I think because of his teammate overshadowed him, A.J. Brown. When you look at A.J. Brown on film, he looks like a big slot guy, but I didn't expect him to run 4.49.
No,
he athletically tested well. He ran good routes and he caught the football. So I was extremely impressed by him because I think he's going to send people back to his tape. Playing at Ole Miss and that offense, the route tree is limited. Yep. It's really limited. And then their quarterback wasn't much of a help either. So
I heard an interview with Dawson Knox talking about it. He said they had 25 total plays in the playbook.
Oh my God.
Like legit, he said that.
Wow.
I couldn't even believe that. Like, he's like, I run like 4 routes.
Wow, that's crazy. I think I got more plays in my repertoire when I played Madden than that.
Exactly. I have more run plays than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dear God, like 25? Okay, somebody should definitely be looking for a new job. But yeah, those are my 3 guys, man. I love Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin, and A.J. Brown.
All right, yeah, I think I had a couple of those guys as well. The only 2 that we haven't mentioned And I don't know if I can call them winners per se because they were already, highly touted guys coming in. But both of them ran faster than I expected them to. I think faster than most people expected to. And that was Hakeem Butler and N'Keal Harry. I think both of those guys were kind of, how fast are they going to be? These are big guys. They don't, look as explosive on film because they are big guys. And especially Hakeem Butler, I think he came in at 6'5" or something, just short of 6'6". And, he ran that
longest wingspan ever.
Yeah. That's huge. And I listened to a podcast, and I can't think of all the names now off the top of my head, but someone went through since 2010 and named all the receivers that were 6'6" and over, and it's a who's who of NFL busts. So hopefully Hakeem Butler can kind of break that trend because, as being a big receiver, it just wasn't a very good a list of players from 2010. So, with that 40 time, I think he'll be fine. Let's look at some of these losers now. Ryan, we'll go to you first again. Who are some of your losers in the combine?
I feel bad because Georgia, yeah. But dude, I loved Riley Ridley. I was a complete Riley Ridley truther. He was a top 5 dude for me, and I banked on him, his lack of production, going with him being super athletic. I thought he's on test near his brother. And he did terrible, man. I still think he'd be an okay receiver, but it killed him in my ranks, and it hurt.
Yep.
I'm depressed about it. I almost just skip this category. I was just have somebody else to go first, so I'd have to bring him up. And everybody on Twitter is now where's the Riley Ridley truthers at? Dude, he did terrible.
Yep. What about you, Damian? Who you got for your losers?
Man, little Jordan Humphrey. 4.75. Come on. 4.75, and that bothered me so much because, again, I believe he's an underclassman that could have went back to Texas.
Yeah,
he play alongside Colin Johnson.
Who's better than him regardless.
Exactly. But they also have another 5-star recruit athlete coming in playing receiver. I can't remember the young man's name, but definitely watch out for him if they get him on the field next year. He's a beast. So I'm just you should have went back. Yep. You should have went back to college, give it one more year, come out next year. Granted, next year supposed to be a pretty good receiving class as well. I'm talking really good top heavy, but still 4.75. He did not look. He was not the athletic guy I thought he was going to be. I heard a lot of comparisons to Cordell Patterson coming out, and that big frame, speed can kind of move him around. Yeah, did not see anything that I liked from him.
Yep.
So he disappointed me. Plus when you got the name Jordan, you got to do a little bit better than 4.75.
Agreed.
Little Jordan's is actual God-given name.
Yeah, exactly. It's disturbing, actually.
Ooh, real quick, I want to throw one other loser. It wasn't at the combine, but it was a couple days later. That's Preston Williams from Colorado State. Yep. He was a dude who's I've seen ranked fairly high, and you run 4.6 at your pro day, and you have small hands, and you have a 31-inch vert, you're done.
Yep.
Get into a small school that.
And you have off the field issues already, so that definitely.
And you have off the field issues, He just went undrafted.
Yep, exactly.
I think so. Yep.
All right, so we're running against the clock a little bit here, so I'll just kind of quickly give my one guy that I had as a loser that we hadn't already mentioned yet, and he was more of I had my number 1 overall going into the combine, and that was Kelvin Harmon. He kind of fell for me a little bit. He wasn't quite the athlete that I thought he was. He struggled in some agility drills, which, is kind of his thing. He's a route running receiver, and I think he struggled a little bit. Not too bad, not to the point where he's going to be dropping down too much, but, I had a number 1 overall, and now I think I have him at wide receiver 4 or 5 now, so Kelvin Harmon was my one loser. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we come back. We're going to preview the free agency coming up here. So today's March 8th. I think free agency breaks on March 13th. So when we come back, we'll do that.
Fantasy football. It's not just a social interaction anymore. Today's manager plays to win, and the difference between winning and losing is so small, a manager will do whatever it takes to get an edge. Yet the other sites offer the same content at an extremely high cost. It's time to get away from the old and step into the future of fantasy stats. This is StatRoute. StatRoute allows you to find any data set for any player or team in 7 seconds or less, all on a simple, easy-to-use application. Want to see which running back performed best in the snow last season? How about the past 5 seasons? And in the fourth quarter? Or maybe you're unsure of which quarterback to start for the upcoming week. With our Stats IP technology, you can now quickly see how Matt Stafford has performed in the rain, during the second half of the season, in New York, compared with how Russell Wilson has played during primetime games, at home, versus the Rams' new defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips. At StatRoute, it's our mission to deliver state-of-the-art technology, guaranteed to keep you ahead of the curve. So, whether you're a casual football fan, a weekly fantasy trash talker, or a DFS hustler, we've got you covered. Welcome to the new standard for stats delivery. We are StatRoute. Take back your league.
All right, welcome back, guys. We are here with Ryan Searfoss and Mr. Damian Parson. We are going to do a quick free agent draft here. We're going to try to get through 2 rounds, but we're up against the clock here, so if we don't get through all 2 rounds, I apologize, but we have some good combine stuff to talk about here. So we're going to do a 12-team fantasy snake-style draft with the free agents that are coming out here on the 13th, and we'll just kind of go through picks. We'll rotate them right on through. We'll do a super flex style so we can kind of get those quarterbacks that are out there as well into this draft. And we'll go ahead and kick it off here. Since you are the guest, Damian, you'll get the number 1 pick overall. You know, I think we all know who you're going to take here. The twist to this is when you pick your player, you get to pick which team he goes to. We try to keep it realistic. You know, obviously everybody wants to go to a team like the Patriots, but if they don't have the cap space, they can't afford them. But, you know, pick your team realistically. So, Mr. Damian, go ahead and kick it off with number 1 overall.
Number 1 overall, of course, I'm going Le'Veon Bell, star running back. I am actually going to pair him with the New York Jets. They have the money. They have the quarterback that needs the running back to help him in the game. You see with the receiver, Robbie Anderson, he has some solid receivers, can do to improve that. But Le'Veon Bell will be big for this team, and it's a team that can pay him kind of, maybe not the money not the exact money he wanted, but kind of close to it. They can pay him, and that is a team that can use him. So I'm going Lev Bell to the New York Jets.
Yep, I like that a lot. I think also it kind of appeals to Le'Veon Bell in the bigger market for New York. So I like that pick a lot there, and I think he will be sort of the do-it-all kind of guy there, get the ball a ton. So as for fantasy points, we definitely want that. All right, Ryan, number 2 overall, who you got?
I'm taking Mark Ingram, and I'm sending him to my Baltimore Ravens. Last year, they were the top rushing offense once Lamar took over with Gus Edwards, who's not a great running back, who's just big and falls forward. Mark Ingram does it all. He can run, he can catch, he runs between tackles, he runs outside. He could be an every down back that Sean Payton never gave him a chance to be in the twilight of his career and shine with Lamar Jackson back there in an improving offensive line.
All right, good stuff. I like that. 2 running backs off the board, and I'm going to make it 3 in a row here. I'm going to go with Tevin Coleman, and I'm not going to buy the hype on Damian Williams. I think that they've come out and said that he's the man, but I'm not going to buy it. I'm sending Tevin Coleman to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he becomes their number 1 running back there, and I think he immediately becomes more fantasy relevant than he did in Atlanta. I think just having a running back in Kansas City, you're going to be good to go there. They may have a split, a little bit with Damian Williams, but I think Tevin Coleman in Kansas City is going to be an awesome stop for him. All right, Damian, we're coming back around to you. You got the 4th pick overall. Who are you going with?
Let me go receiver. I'm going to go Golden Tate to the New England Patriots.
Nice. He
is a perfect Patriot. Being able to put him in the slot opposite of Julian Edelman. Of course, we believe Gronkowski is going to retire. They need someone else that can work the middle of the field, work the intermediate game. He's a sure-handed guy, shifty guy. And you talk about PPR. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you can get, mid to later rounds. He goes in New England with Tom Brady, catching the screen game, catching the underneath game, and eventually going over the top of defenses. And he is a yak guy as well.
Yep.
I think that's a perfect fit.
Yeah, I love that. I love that place for him as well. I think that Golden Tate, I think that he kind of hurt his value in Philly. So I think if he goes to the Patriots, he will be drafted a little bit later because of what he did in Philly. So I think that, helps with the value there as well. All right, Ryan, number 5, who you got?
I'm taking your boy here, Tyrell Williams.
Killing me.
I think he's going to be the highest paid receiver in free agency, and I also believe he's probably going to go to Cleveland. Rumors are there, and he'll give Baker that big target that he's wanted, and he should do well there, man. Him, Jarvis Landry, Callaway, that's a perfect combination of different skill sets.
Yep.
I think he's a big-time fantasy option if he ends up going to Cleveland.
All right, good stuff. All right, so it's back to me at pick number 6, and I'm going to throw a curveball here. I'm going to go with quarterback here in Superflex, and I'm going to take Nick Foles, number 1 quarterback, sort of in free agency right now. And here's my curveball. I predicted in my bold predictions in January that the Bengals would cut Andy Dalton, and I still stick to that. I think he gets cut, and I think Nick Foles surprises everybody. He goes to Cincinnati with all those weapons. He becomes a super fancy relevant quarterback once again. When you got A.J. Green, you got Joe Mixon, you got, what's his name?
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd, thank you. I just think that if he went there.
John Ross?
John Ross?
Nah.
No, thank you. But I think if we're picking dream situations here, I think that Nick Foles in Cincinnati would be an amazing place for him. Does it happen? I don't know, but we still got time to find out. All right, Damian, back to you at number 7. Who you got?
I got to go tight end here. Give me Jared Cook to the exact same team you named, but with a different quarterback. I say the Bengals keep Andy Dalton, and they give him a talented tight end in Jared Cook, who was able to put up numbers with Derek Carr. Tyler Eifert cannot stay healthy,
Yep.
and that's the one piece that they're missing from the middle of the field with his speed, with A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd. Doubt John Ross will be there, but whoever else will be wide receiver 3. And Joe Mixon, I think that's a dangerous offense. They fix that offensive line. Give me Jared Cook.
All right, first tight end is off the board. Ryan, go to you to number 8 now.
I'm going to take John Brown to the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh, I like
they got
that.
$34 million open. Brown's going to come at a discount, probably $5 or $6 million. And that gives Rodgers the perfect deep threat across from Devontae Adams. Should help both of them fantasy-wise because he was killing when they were throwing deep all the time. And Aaron Rodgers is the best in the business. I don't care what anyone says still. And that's a perfect matchup for me.
Yep, I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so I'm up next. I'm going to go back to the running backs here and take a little bit of an under the radar kind of guy. I sent Tevin Coleman to Kansas City, so we're going to fill that position with Mr. T.J. Yeldon. I think he's going to go to the Falcons there and replace Tevin Coleman in that offense. I don't know if I believe too much in Ado Smith. I think T.J. Yeldon, it's a free agent, sort of that passing down kind of back, can kind of help out in Atlanta as much as they pass the ball. So again, it's probably not going to happen just because they got some running backs there already with Devontae Freeman coming back. But if I'm picking a dream situation and where they can afford him, I think it's going to be Yeldon in Atlanta.
Okay.
All right, Damian, number 10, who you got?
Oh, man, give me Nick Foles. I got to go get a quarterback. So give me Nick Foles. And we talked about it earlier. I want to send him to Jacksonville and pair him up with that offense with Leonard Fournette and the rest of those receivers over there. I think he'll be able to make some noise over there. You need, especially like I said, PPR. He's going to go deep. That's one thing about Nick Foles. He's going to throw the ball deep. So I think he'll give me some good touchdown points and add some value to my team. So I go Nick Foles to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. Well, I already took Nick Foles and sent him to
Oh,
Cincinnati.
you did. That's right.
I
That's
sniped
right.
you. So
you're right. You got me. Give me Teddy Bridgewater. I'll take Teddy Bridgewater at the same team.
All right.
I'm still gonna put him in Jacksonville for the same exact reason. Strong run game, and he has a good arm as well. So I think they can put some points on the board.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Ryan, who you got?
So Dallas is losing Cole Beasley. And they have a major hole at their slot receiver position. And I'm going to give him Randall Cobb. He's a run after the catch guy. He's been down on his luck a little bit. He's going to come cheap. They don't have a lot of cap room. And he's a guy who could bounce back, man. He's a hell of a receiver out of the slot. And once he has the ball in his hands, he can break it off. Him and Amari Cooper's a dangerous combination with that run game. Plus, he can stretch the field, take some pressure off Zeke. I think he'll be one of Dak's favorite targets.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I like that pick. If he can just stay healthy, he'll be good to go. All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. There ain't much left here for me at number 12. I'm looking at some of these receivers here. You know what? Let's do this. I'm going to go with a little bit of a dark horse here, Mr. Adam Humphries. Potential that he may stay with Tampa Bay, but let's say he leaves. I think he'd be a good fit in Indy as that sort of slot receiver with T.Y. Hilton taking the top off the defense. Adam Humphries working the slot, sort of that volume kind of receiver. I'll take Adam Humphries in Indianapolis. And then at the turn, let's see who we got left on the board here. Wow, there ain't much left.
Not really.
Yeah, free agents just. You know what? Here, I'm going to do this. So the list that I got here isn't completely updated. There's a guy that got released today. So I'm going to go ahead and take him, Mr. Carlos Hyde. And I had a bold prediction that he was going to get cut in January and end up in Buffalo. So that's where I'm going to send him. I'm going to send him to Buffalo, taking over for Shady McCoy. And sort of in that, up-and-coming offense there with the running quarterback, I think Hyde can do pretty well up there in Buffalo.
I like it. I like that one.
All right, Ryan, back to you. Number, what are we at? Number 2 in the second round.
All right, number 2 in the second round. God. Now I'm a little confused. I have the receiver I want, but Pittsburgh's about to be missing Antonio Brown.
Yep.
They need a guy who can run some routes, get moved around. They run Brown to the slot a lot. And obviously, it's not the same player, not even close, but he's a guy who can get open who showed top 24 fantasy potential for Chase Crowder. He needs out of Washington. He needs somewhere new. And they throw enough there where he can succeed. And he'll be a nice little thing to keep the pressure off Juju.
All right. So you said Jamison Crowder to the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. I like that.
Don't like it in real life, by the way.
Yeah, it's getting down to the nitty gritty now with these.
Dude, it's getting rough. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's rough out here.
It's getting ugly.
It's rough out here, man.
All right, Damian, who you going with the third pick in the second round?
I'm going running back. I'm going back to the backs. I'm gonna go Jay Ajayi to the Los Angeles Rams. I know they had CJ Anderson, and while he was able to give them that boost and spell Todd Gurley, I just believe that Jay Ajayi is a little bit better player. I believe he's younger as well, if I'm not mistaken. Got a little bit more juice in the tank, but he is a hard-nosed runner, and he has pretty solid hands to catch the ball in the screen game and add some PPR value as well. Like I said, spell Todd Gurley, maybe eating some of his red zone snaps. So give me Jay Ajayi to the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, good stuff there. That makes my pick pretty easy here because I was kind of debating between him and somebody else. And since Mark Ingram is now is gone from the New Orleans Saints, I'm going to send C.J. Anderson to the New Orleans Saints to replace Mark Ingram in New Orleans. I think he's the perfect complement. He's not quite the pass catcher that Ingram is, but when you got Kamara there, you don't need to be. You just got to be the thunder to his lightning. And I think C.J. Anderson has shown that he's got a lot left in the tank. So I'm going to send him to New Orleans, and I think he'll be a good pickup there. All right, Ryan, back to you, man.
All right, so I'm using Mike Clay's free agency list. The number 3 wide receiver of his is still out there, which I'm not going to do because it's Devin Funchess and don't really want him. But this one never would have popped onto my radar before I saw the rumor recently. And it's sending Cordell Patterson down to Baltimore. I think in that offense with the way they run, throw deep, and just will use him as a weapon and a move piece with Lamar Jackson, I think it's a way he could succeed really well there and produce on a pretty solid basis. And they have, Willie Snead, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Three
I like
three
that
tight ends.
Yeah, he's going to be sort of that slash type guy where he can run the ball, catch the ball, take the top of the defense. I think that in that offense, he can definitely be a good pickup there. All right, Damian, we're at you with number 6 overall in the second round.
Man, oh man, I tell you, it is getting hard out here to pick guys. I need to go to another receiver. Man, jeez, I'm gonna go Devin Funchess. I don't know who. I will send Devin Funchess. Sweet G. I'm gonna send Devin Funchess to Houston.
Okay.
Actually,
all right.
I want to send him to Houston. They have DeAndre Hopkins. Will Fuller, at the speed dimension, but again, he is also injury prone, as someone else that we talked about on the show, already, but, Kiki QT in the slot, but I would like to add him because, he replaces what they had in Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas, they wanted to bring him in to be that other big body, big frame guy that could, out-muscle defenders. I think he'll be a solid pick over there. Doesn't have to do the most. You just need him to do it just a little bit, just enough to help beat one-on-ones, because you're going to see a lot of one-on-ones while DeAndre Hopkins sees all the double coverage. So you need somebody to take some of those snaps and be successful.
All right.
You need Devin Funchess.
Love it. All right, I'm up here with the 7th pick in the second round, and I'm, again, super flex league, so I'm going to take Mr. Tyrod Taylor, and I'm going to send him to Miami. I think his legs alone give him some fantasy relevance just by itself. He's got some decent weapons there. I think Kenyon Drake is going to have a breakout season there. And I think with Tyrod Taylor under center that they can have a pretty decent season. I'm not going to put them in the playoffs, but maybe a 7-9 type season, definitely better than they've been in the past. And I think Tyrod Taylor will be a good fit down there. All right, okay. Ryan, we're back to you at number 8.
All right, at number 8, I'm going to send Chris Conley to Detroit. The offense hasn't been the same since they lost Golden Tate at the slot. Conley's underperformed for a while, but we know he's an electric dude. He's fast, big play guy, catch the ball. He runs almost primarily out of the slot. I think he's a guy who can fill in, get that offense picked up a little bit, and with his speed and big playability, he's a guy who could be a game breaker for them.
Yeah, good call. I like that. All right, Damian, number 9, who you got?
Oh, man, number 9, give me Dante Moncrief, and I want to send him to the Jets. Give them another big body guy that has some speed. Like I said, adding Le'Veon Bell to that offense gives them that 20 to 25 carry type of a back, opens up the play action, and lets Sam Darnold just rip it downfield with him and Robbie Anderson, and most likely I forget the young man in the slot, but yeah, so give me Dante Moncrief to the New York Jets.
All right, good stuff there. All right, so it's back to me, man. I'm looking at this list like, man, who the hell am I going to take at this point? There's just nothing left on this list. Let's see. All right, let me take another running back here, and this guy had a pretty decent season out of the backfield as a pass-catching back, and this is Mike Davis from the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to send him to Washington. Adrian Peterson, I don't think he's going to be there. He's a receiving back anyway. I think Darius Geis is going to take a little while to get back on his feet, and he's not much of a catcher out of the backfield either. So I think Mike Davis showed that he can be a receiving type back in Seattle. He's the odd man out now that Penny's kind of broken out a little bit, and I'm going to send Mike Davis to the Washington Redskins. All right, Ryan, we got your last pick here at number 11. Who are you going to take?
I'm going to take Corey Grant, and I'm going to send him to the Panthers. They want to take the workload off of Chris McCaffrey a little bit. And Corey Grant, he's nothing spectacular, but he has speed. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He can run between the tackles if need be. So on those downs, and they want to give Christian McCaffrey a break, he's a guy who can fill in, get 10, 15 touches if need be.
Yep.
It'd be a nice little fill-in role for them.
All right, yeah, I like it. He's kind of an under-the-radar kind of guy, but yeah, I definitely like that one. All right, Damian, take us home, man. Who's your last pick in the second round here? There ain't much left on this board.
There really is. There's not much left, but I will go with Austin Severian Jenkins at tight end. I want to send him to Minnesota.
Nice.
I want to give them a 2 tight end set with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs and Dalvin Cook in the backfield. Give Kirk Cousins some quicker outlets to get the ball out of his hand with a terrible offensive line. So yeah, I'm gonna send an ASJ to the Minnesota Vikings.
All right.
You know what's funny? Dallas has no tight end yet. Nobody even wants to get somebody. I don't know if it's subliminal or just not meant to be.
They have
We hate him.
Whitten. They have Whitten. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about him. My bad.
They'll be all right.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Great show. Damian, tell us one more time where we can find you at on Twitter.
On Twitter, DP_NFL. DP_NFL on Twitter, guys.
All right. Yeah, great stuff. Definitely catch his show. That's on every pretty much podcast network, right? The Damian and Jeremy show. It's on iTunes and all that stuff.
Yep, iTunes, Stitcher, all that stuff, man. We're trying to reach the masses, so definitely check us out. We'll be back with you guys next week with 2 more episodes. Episode of Damian and Jeremy show, recapping free agency, and of course on the clock talking some college football and the NFL draft.
All right, good stuff, guys. Appreciate y'all coming on. For Ryan, for Damian, I'm Jeff. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. If you missed any of the show, you can always check out the show on iTunes and Stitcher, Google Play Music after the show has been completed. So definitely, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.